guys doing tonight? Well, we are in a series called Heaven, Hell, and Other Scary Stuff. And tonight we're going to be diving in. We're going to be talking about the question, what happens when you die? Right? Because people want to know what happens when you die. People have all these theories about what's going to happen. When I die, do I become a ghost? When I die, do I just go to sleep? When I die, do I stand in limbo land and have to earn my way to heaven or earn my way to hell? And so what actually happens when you die? Have anybody ever thought of that question? What happens when you die? I know I used to have a lot of questions about that. And so tonight we're going to answer that question. And I think really what we're going to do is we're going to dive in just right off the bat into a story that Jesus told himself, a parable about what happens when you die. And so we're going to be talking about that. And what I want to do is I don't want to just talk about it. I want to actually have some help and have you guys help act it out. So I need 4 people who would like to help with this. Okay, you in the yellow right there, come on. Up here, you in the not dead shirt, come on, you're representing alive, you can come on up on stage. Come on, stand up here. Okay, let's see a girl. Oh, you right there in the green, come on up, and then you in the blue next to her, come on. Okay, so let's see, okay, come on up here, okay. So we're going to be talking about a parable. Now, does anybody know what a parable is? Anybody know? Okay, a parable is a story that Jesus told, and it's an earthly story that has a heavenly meaning. So what it means is it's kind of a story that we can understand. It's in our terms, but it carries a meaning that kind of goes, that kind of explains heaven a little bit. And so what we have is a story that they call the parable of the talents. And talents is money, so it's talking about money. And so what I have is, who's tallest? You're tallest? Okay, so this is a master. We have a master who has some servants. So you guys are servants. So servant 1, servant 2, and servant 3, okay? So you're about to go on vacation. You're like, I'm going on a trip. You're like, peace out. But here's what you do. It's a long vacation. They went on long vacations back in the day. You're going on a long vacation. So what you're going to do is you're going to give your servants some money to take care of everything, and you want them to do something good with their money. And so you got to give the first one $5. Do you have, no, where's your $5? Come on. I'm being serious, come on. Okay, dude, who has $5 this kid can borrow? He did not bring his money. Okay, go get $5. Seriously, I need $5 bill, $5 bill. Go get it from them. He needs $5 here, right there up front. He's got $5. Go get it from him right here. You'll get it back, don't worry. He's just going to borrow. I owe you, make sure you remember, blue kid in the blue right there. Okay, you're going to give the first guy $5, okay? You give him, you entrust him with $5. The second person, is that really a $5 bill? Okay, good. Then the second person, you need to give her $2. Come on, anybody got $2? $2. This kid, he's not prepared today. I don't know what's going on. $2. I need $2. Anybody in the crowd, you'll get it back. You'll get it back. He's going to make sure to give it back. Okay, we got $2. Okay, what's your name? Okay, come on over here. We're going to get his name. He's not, I can't believe you didn't bring money to fuel. No. Okay, $2. You're going to give the next one $2, okay? Okay, and the last girl, you're going to give her, what's your name first? Jaden, okay? Jaden, you're going to give her $1. So we need $1. Anybody got $1? Okay, we got $1 over there. You'll get it back, okay? Remember who gave you $1 so that way you don't lose it. Okay, so, are you good? A lot of running. Okay, so you gave her $1, and you're like, okay, take care of my money. I'm going to come back in a little bit, so you need to go on vacation for a little bit, okay? So he's going to go on vacation. Okay, so while he's on vacation, these guys go to work and decide to do something with their money, okay? And so when he comes back, they're going to do something with it. And so what happens is the first guy, he takes his $5 and he doubles it. He got $5 more. This person, she invests it and she gets $1. And you decide you want to hide it. So go hide it somewhere on the stage, okay? So you hide your money. You don't want it to get lost. You bury it in a field because you don't want it to get lost. Okay, everybody got that? So they invested their money. Maybe they played the stock market or something like that. I don't know what happened, but they got money back because they invested it. So our master, come on back here. Master, ever give up the master's back? Okay, so here's what happens. He says, okay, what did you do? I left for a long time. I came back. I gave you $5. Now what did you do? You got extra. Okay, you invested your money, you got extra. Okay, and so actually, do we have the verses up for that? It's right at the second part of the Matthew. So he basically said, what did you do with the money? He gave him $5, and this is what it says. I'm going to actually read it right now, okay? The servant who had given 5 bags of silver, or we use $5 today, had returned and gave him 5 more. So give him back his money, okay? So, give him both back. You got to give it. You're a servant. You just serve your master. You gave him money. And he says, I've earned 5 more. The master was full of praise. You're like, good job. Give him a high five.
Good job.
High five. Okay, let's celebrate together. He says, because I have entrusted you with a little, I will entrust you with more. And so he literally says, he gives the money back and he says, invest it more because you did a great job, okay? And so he says, let's celebrate together. So everyone, let's celebrate. Everybody stand up, let's celebrate. Woo! Okay, so good job. So now our second one, she comes to number 2. He says, what did you do with my money?
What do you do with my money?
You got more. And he says, good job, because you've been faithful a little, you will now be faithful with more. So let's celebrate together. Everybody celebrate. Woo! Okay, and so then the last servant, okay?
Where's the money?
Hold on, she has to go get it. She hid it. Okay, and so this is what she say to him, okay? Say, Master, I knew that you are a hard worker, and I was afraid to lose it, so I hid your money. Can you say that?
Master, I knew that you are a hard worker, so I was afraid to lose, so I hid your money.
Okay, now, you master, you say you are lazy because you could have put it in the bank and at least got some investment back. So tell her you're lazy.
You were lazy. You could have put in the bank and got some investment back.
Okay, so he's really sad. You're going to throw her on the street, say, go away, go away. You're going to stand all the way over here. I want you to keep on the stage right here. Stand right here. Okay, and then you give the $1 to him because he was good, he invested your money, and then you're going to give him, okay? So that's what happens in the story. You guys get that? So this is a parable. You guys can read it in Matthew 25. My master, I don't need you anymore. I'm going to have you guys stay on stage. You can go ahead and sit down. Everybody get up for a master. Good job. So I want you to stand right here, and you to stand right here with your money in your hand, okay? Hold it out, and you're going to stand right there, okay? And so you guys see this? So what happened? If you guys got that, the master came, he gave money, he invested it. Some people invested the money, but then somebody didn't. She just hid the money and let it go to waste, almost hiding it, not using it to her full abilities. And she wasted some things. And here's how this kind of relates. Some of you guys are like, wait, well, how does this relate to what happens when I die? Because that might be, you guys are anybody confused? Okay, I'm glad you're confused. This is awesome. I'm glad. You weren't supposed to get it yet, so if you're confused, you're tracking with me. It's awesome. What happens is when we die, there's some things that are going to happen, okay? And we talked about it a couple weeks ago when we talked about heaven and hell. Who was here for our first week when we talked about heaven and hell? That was sweet. Okay, so we know that you are saved by faith or by grace through faith, okay? And so if you're in here, if you say, I love Jesus, if you accepted in him in your life and you're living by faith, then we know you go to heaven. Everybody's right? You got that? You go to heaven. And if you don't, then there's this place called hell. And the reason that hell exists is because the reason that people are sent to hell was not because God is bad or anything. It's because all their life they've been saying, God, I don't need you. I don't want you. I want a life away from you. And therefore, they get an eternity that's away from God. And that's what hell is eternity away from God. And so but if you're in here, many of you guys have said, okay, I follow Jesus, I put my faith in Jesus, then we know that we go to heaven. Everybody's got that right? Heaven, woohoo! A party in heaven, it's awesome. We talked about that a couple weeks ago. If you weren't here, we literally have a video you guys can check out and go online and look at that. But and there's going to be some sweet stuff. What happens when you die, and you're going to be like in a glorified body, and you get to like float around and go through walls, all that fun stuff. I mean, I'm serious, but I don't want to talk about that tonight. We'll have to have another series and get all into that. But what I talk about is that there's something that happens when you die, and it's this thing called judgment. And people don't like to talk about this because judgment has kind of a bad tone, and people are like, oh, judgment, that's not good. But there's going to be judgments when we die, and there's 2 kinds of judgments. And the first judgment is the judgment for unbelievers. So if you don't put your faith in God, you know, we talk about that you're in this place called hell, and there's going to be a judgment there. But the real judgment I want to talk about is there's this judgment that's going to happen for believers. So if you're in here and you follow Christ, there's going to be a moment where your life is going to be judged. Because here's what happens is we live our life, and we've been given a lot. And so God is going to look at your life at one day and say, what did you do with what I gave you? What did you do with the money I gave you, as this kind of like parable showed? What did you do with that? What did you do with the time I gave you? What did you do with the gifts I gave you? Did you spend your whole time playing Xbox for 3 hours straight every single night? Did you spend, your time or your money on the latest styles of clothes and you spent all your money on that? Did you spend your gifts and just not do anything even though you had an amazing talent and ability? Just didn't do anything. How did you spend your time? And that's where I come back to these people right here, because this is a good picture, because God's going to say, what did you do with the $5? And maybe it's not $5. It's not going to be $5, and maybe it might be more than that, because we are going to earn more than $5 in our life. But he's going to say, what did you do with what I gave you? Did you use it wisely, or did you waste it? Did you just hide it away? Did you bury it under the sand and just waste it? And so I think, okay. I think there's really 3 things that we're going to be judged on when we die. And so I want to kind of dive into those tonight. There's 3 things. Everybody got that? Everybody say 3. 3. That was kind of good. Everybody say 3. 3. Okay. There's 3 things. And the first thing is that I think we're going to be judged on our time. How did we spend our time, right? And I know you guys are like, I don't have any time. I got to go to school. But you guys have so much time. Do you know that every week there is about 10,000 minutes you get every week? 10,000 minutes. How did you spend those 10,000 minutes? What did you do in those moments when you were bored? How did you spend your time when you were bored? What did you do when, your entertainment choices? So what did you do? Hey, boys up front, listen. What did you do with your time? And here's the thing. I think us as teenagers and Americans, we entertain ourselves to death, okay? I am totally to blame with this one too. I mean, how many of you guys have seen the new Alexander the Great, Very Terrible, Whatever, Bad Day? Anybody seen that movie yet? Okay, a couple have seen us. Someone seen that. How many of you guys seen at least a movie the last week at the theater? Okay, so some of you guys have, okay. How many of you guys have watched more than 1 hour of TV this past week? Okay, how many of you guys have been on Facebook for more than an hour this week? Okay, how many of you guys have spent more than probably 5 hours in the last week on your phone of some type? Okay, and see, here's the thing, and I don't want you guys to think that all those things are bad, but when we get to heaven, God is going to say, what did you do with the time I gave you? He gives us all the same amount of time, sometimes a little bit less or a little bit, but he gives us the same amount of time in the day. What did you do with it? What did you do with your time? And I know for me, I'm going to have to go to heaven one day and have to say, okay, God, I happen to have watched all the Harry Potter movies at least 5 or 6 times. And he's going to be like, Megan, I know you know every line, but in the end, does that really matter? Does it matter that I've seen the Hunger Games first movie 12 times, literally 12 times, and I can quote every line? That's going to be something I'm going to have to hold accountable to when I get to heaven. How did you spend your time? Because even though, I'm not trying to say that it's not bad to watch a movie once in a while, but if that's all we do, we're wasting our time, and we're going to be like the person over here, hiding our money, hiding everything, instead of using it for God's glory, using it to honor God. And so I want you to really think about that. How do you spend your time? Do you spend your time on things that matter? Or are you spending your time on things that don't matter? Because when we get to heaven, are we going to say, okay, God, I beat Minecraft. I beat, the app right now that I have is 2 dots. I beat Flappy Bird. I had it downloaded before it got off. Whatever it is, I beat that, God. Aren't you proud of me? Is that going to matter, though? What did you guys think? Is it going to matter? It's not going to matter that much when we get to heaven. And so we've been talking about this idea. We've been talking about this idea of living with eternity in mind. Do you guys remember that? Live with eternity in mind. Instead of living for the entertainment, the pleasures of this world, we're going to live with eternity in mind and say, what I do today matters. Because here's the thing, is that we can invest our time and we can multiply it. We can say, okay, God, we want to multiply our time and use it for your glory. And all of a sudden, we're using your time, or the time that you have, to multiply and go out there and maybe reach some people, maybe love people in the name of God. Maybe that we're investing our time so that way, eventually, we're going to have a new building over there, and you invest your time in that new building so that we can reach more people. Maybe you say, I'm going to invest my time in my friends, to love my friends so that they know God. Maybe you're investing your time at Fuel and say, I want Fuel to reach more people because I want people to know God. And that's the way we can invest our time and multiply it our time. Does that make sense? And so that's number one, is that how are you spending your time? Are you spending your time on things that matter or things that in the end won't matter? Number two is how we spend our money. I would say money, money, money. I know you guys are too young for that. That's awesome. But hey, you guys might be like, I have no money. Who thinks they have no money in here? Okay, you guys think you have no money, but here's the thing. You guys are so rich. Do you guys realize that? You guys are so rich. Did you know that on Monday nights, do you guys know our little cafe out there? How many of you guys like our cafe Baxter's? Yeah? I know, we love it. We got some milkshakes and all that fun stuff. Well, hey, did you know that Monday nights, besides our weekend services, because our church is bigger, but besides our weekend services, Monday nights makes the most amount of money out of throughout the week. Monday nights, you guys spend the most out of Alive and Unite. So for you guys to say you got no money, you guys are liars, okay? And so here's the thing. How we spend our money matters. I want to know, honestly, if you're in here and you say, somewhere in my realm of either at home or on yourself right now, you say, I could probably scrounge up $2. Somewhere at home, you could have it. Maybe you ask your mom, you could scrounge up $2. I want you to stand up if you could do that. Just stand up, honestly, come on. If you could scrounge up $2, don't lie, $2 somewhere in your guide. Even if it's things, okay, I know you guys already stand up because you got money in your hands. You're good. If you could scrounge up $2, okay. Here's what I want you to do. Okay, now here's the thing. I think some people are lying in here, but it's okay. We'll give you a pass. We love you still. Here's the thing. You who stand up right now, you guys are richer than 50% of the world. 50% of the world. Did you know that? This is honest. 50% of the world lives on less than $2 a day. Like, that's all they get is $2 a day and their income, okay? Now I want to know who thinks they have more than $10 in their possession somehow. $10 at home, whatever. You think you could get $10. Just sit down if you don't have it. Sit down if you don't have it. It's okay. Okay, a couple people stand down. Okay, here's the thing. You guys are richer than 80% of the world. 80% of the world you guys are richer than. And that's only counting you personally. That's not even counting your parents. That's not counting like all the stuff. Honestly, if we were to count all your stuff, your parents' stuff, everything that you guys own, listen guys up there, listen, if you guys added all that stuff up, you guys would probably be richer than 98% of the world. Isn't that crazy? It's crazy. You guys can sit down. Good job. Here's the thing. We are rich. We have money. And even if you say you don't, we do. We have money. And so God's going to say one day, what did you do with the money that you had? Because I know for me, I get it. Like, we want to spend things on ourselves. I am totally with you guys on here. I mean, I have, clothes in my closet that I have never worn that I bought with my money. I probably buy Starbucks way too much, and I spend $5 on a drink. It's terrible. And I spend money, but here's the thing. I'm going to have to hold account for that. God's going to hold us accountable for the money that we have. How are we spending our money? How are we spending our money? Are we spending on things that matter, or are we spending on things that are just going to pass away? Shh, you guys over there, thank you. What are we going to do? Okay, and the last thing I really want to talk about, and this is the most important, is we're going to be held accountable for our giftings. And here's the thing. Some of you guys are like, what does that mean, giftings? Our gifts, our abilities, our talents. We're going to be held accountable for that. Because here's the thing. That what's crazy is that back in the day, they translated into that they gave them gold or silver, but it used to be called talents, which I think is really funny because we can translate that into our own. See, God has given each of you guys abilities, talents, gifts. And maybe you're in here and you're like, no, I don't have anything. I bet you I could find something that God has gifted you in that you're really good at. Maybe it's just that you're really good at making people feel loved and welcomed. Maybe you're in here and you're like, I'm really good actually at baking chocolate chip cookies. Like, some of you guys are in here and you're really good at baking chocolate chip cookies. Some of you guys are in here and you're like, I am really good at video games. Yeah. Okay? Some of you, though, maybe you have other talents too. Maybe you are saying, I'm really good at video. I'm really good at creating things. I'm really good at talking to large groups of people. I'm really good, maybe you guys over there say, I'm really good at, doing people's hair, doing makeup. I don't know what you guys are good at, but look at me. each of you guys can play a part in here. You guys have a part to play, and we will find a way for you to use that gift, that ability. And it's not just people on stage. It's not just musicians we need everybody to play their part, because here's the thing. We talked about this a few weeks ago, but we want Fuel to be the best night of your life. How many of you guys think Fuel is the best night of their life? Okay? Not everyone raised their hands, so we got to get it, step it up, and we can't do that without you. And this is why this is so relevant to me, okay? When I first started to come into church, I thought church was okay, but I didn't really like it, honestly. I started coming to church, I didn't like it. But I got plugged in. I started serving, and I really loved, I'm a girl, I was in high school, I really loved the little babies. And I was like, I want to hold babies all day long. That's just what I want to do. I love them. I didn't have any brothers or sisters, little younger brothers or sisters growing up. So I just loved babies. And so I just started serving in the nursery here at Metro. And so I started serving there, and I loved it. And I'm going to be honest with you, I came many times to church just so I could serve in the nursery. I didn't care about what was going on in church. I just got involved. When you get involved, your heart starts to change, and all of a sudden, after a little while, I started to understand this whole Jesus thing, and I was like, yeah, I want to get in the game. I love Jesus, and my heart started to shift. But I really think the reason I kept coming and coming back was just because I wanted to be involved with small things as far as loving babies. So you don't even have to believe in Jesus to get involved around here. We want you guys involved in what we're doing. We want Fuel to be run by you guys. So me and Chris are old. We can't run Fuel. We need you guys to help with it. So we want you guys to help with Fuel. We want you guys to be involved. We want you to get in the game. How are you using the gifts and talents and abilities that God has given you? Are you wasting them? Are you hiding them? Or are you using them to multiply what God is giving you? And so that's really our heartbeat around here is we want you guys to get involved. And once you do, what's crazy is that a little bit later in my journey, once I actually met Jesus, I did get involved in something else. I get involved in this little thing called Fuel. And what's crazy is that God started to speak to me and started to use me and realized that this is where I wanted to do. This is what I wanted to do for the rest of my life is to be involved with middle school students. And I became alive in that. And now I have so much, I'm excited to be here with you guys. I love it. Monday nights are my favorite place to be because I love you guys. And that's because I got in the game, and we want you guys to get in the game as well, to multiply what God has given you in your life. And so, to come back on where we started there, is that there's going to be a moment when you die that God's going to say, what did you do with what I've given you? What did you do with the time that you had? And are we going to say, God, I beat the latest app and got to level 586? Or are you going to say, you know what, God, I invested my time into this place called Fuel, and people there got to know you? Are you going to say, God, I don't know, I spent my time watching all these movies and I can quote all the lines? Or are you going to say, God, I instead invested in my friends, and my friends got to know you? He's going to say, what did you do with your money? And he might say, you know what? I gave you, over your lifespan, this amount of money. What did you do with it? And you could say, well, God, I got a lot of Starbucks. Or are you going to say, you know what, God, I spent my money to further and to help aid somebody over in another country, to give them clean water. I sponsored a child with my money. I used my money wisely. What did you do with your money? And the last thing is he's going to say, what did you do with the things that I gave you, the abilities, the gifts? Are you going to say, you know what, I didn't think I had anything, so I sat in my room. I hid myself underneath a cupboard. Or are you going to say, you know what, God, I got in the game. I served. I helped at Fuel. You guys listening over there? I got in the game. I served at Fuel. I served in the worship band maybe. Maybe you said I served on the welcome team. I made people feel welcome. I got in the game. And so what are you going to do? Because there's going to be a moment that you're going to have to hold accountable for that. And so I want you guys to be like these servants over here. We have these people who invested and multiplied it out. You used it and you got to multiply what you were doing to reach more people. And so I just want to pray really quick. Actually, let's give it up for our people who are holding money. So, okay. Okay, I need I don't know whose money all this is. So, okay, if you stole money, if I got you money, just come up here afterwards and I'll give it back to you. So, just sit down. Oh, you don't trust me, do you? Here's your $5 back. Okay, go sit down. Afterwards.
This is not my $5.
Whatever. It's okay. It's $5. It's the same thing. $5 is $5. Okay. Shh. But here's the thing. I want to pray, but I want you guys just to take a minute right now, and I want you to think about your life, and I want you to think about the three things in your life: your time, your money, and your gifts and abilities. I want you to think about that. Are you using them? Or are you wasting them? Are you hiding them? Are you just digging a hole and putting it and burying it? Or are you actually using them in your life? Don't waste your life. We don't want your life to be wasted. And I want you to make sure, I just want to make sure to clarify, that's, when I'm talking about all this stuff, doesn't mean that you're not saved if you don't do this. If you believe in Jesus, if you are saved by grace through faith, you're saved, okay? It doesn't mean you're not going to get in heaven. But there's going to be a moment when you're in heaven, you see God, and he is so glorious. And you're going to say, okay, God, here's my life. Or you're going to say, God, look at my life. Look what I did with it. I multiplied my life. And so that's going to be that moment. So I want you guys just to bow your heads for a minute and just, we're just going to give you guys a minute just to think about that before we go to life groups so you guys can talk about this. What's your life look like? Are you investing it or are you wasting it? So I'm going to give you guys just a minute really quick, and we're just going to have quiet just for a minute. God, I just pray right now that every single student here, just as they're quieting their hearts, would just think back on their lives. Are they wasting their life? God, I pray that they would start to turn their life around, decide not to waste their life, but to invest it. God, I pray that they would use it for your glory, God, and that ultimately that they would bring people to you, God, that they would use it to further what you're doing in this area, God, and around the world. They would decide to invest their time, their money, and their gifts and abilities, and that you would multiply it and use it in a huge way. And so I thank you for Fuel, and I thank you for what you're doing here. In Jesus' name I pray, amen.